Yoru mains, the days of getting flamed are over. Today, I'm showing you how to counter every agent, starting with Yoru's most iconic counterplay. Deadlock players will typically set up trips and use their wall to block Yoru's from flash teleporting in. And most Yoru players will wait out the wall or avoid it entirely. This is an extreme waste of time and map control. Instead, remember that Yoru ult can actually go through Deadlock's wall. This will always catch them off guard. You can also clone to counter her ult and clone her trips to waste them. Raze players are typically on the more aggressive side, so expect them to get in your face often and try to run you down, especially when they have ult and double satchels. Most Yorus completely submit to this. I've seen people teleport away, try to flash her mid-air, or even shoot her mid-air. Instead, try to pay attention to her ult and when she might want to double satchel or do both together. Have your clone ready and send it out to bait her play with your clone. Most Razes will go for the first person they see out of panic, and Yoru's clone is the perfect counter to this. Good ISO players like to be aggressive with their shield and take out Yoru's before they have any time to set up. They will also use their wall to entry on site and to avoid Yoru's flashes. Unfortunately, a lot of Yoru's will waste flash, have it get blocked by his wall, and even get ulted by ISO. This should never be happening. Instead, track his ult and have your clone prepared to counter it. Much like Deadlock ult, it happens fast, so pay attention to when it's up and try to be ready for it with clone already in your hand. Also, if you time it right, you can pop flash through ISO's wall to really catch him off guard. Reyna is a very simple agent by design, so they will almost always be doing one of two things: running it down with flash or lurking. Most Yorus and players in general think they can just ignore the flash or wait it out. Instead, please almost all of the time just break the Reyna flash. Breaking her flash is the play almost 90% of the time unless you don't want to reveal your location, which only happens in very specific scenarios. Do not ego it. Lots of Jets love to up on defense and smoke dash in on offense, which might not seem like a big deal, but here's where most Yorus go wrong. Lots of Yorus will hear a Jet smoke dash in and instantly try to flash and swing her, but the smoke that she just dashed into is actually protecting her from your flash. Instead, assuming she's not dashing on you, wait at least 1 to 2 seconds and then use your flash followed up with the swing to ensure she doesn't have a smoke to protect her anymore. Also, use your clone on common op angles to block the op shot. Clove players love to be that second in line aggressor, especially because they can smoke from the dead and their ult brings them back to life. So always expect them to overextend. A lot of Yorus try to take unadvantageous 1v1s against Cloves when they come back to life with ultimate. But there's no reason to take these coin flips most of the time, unless it's absolutely a free kill, of course. Instead, use their smokes to your advantage with your flashes, and when they use ult, TP away or stall until their ult runs out. This guarantees they don't come back to life under any circumstance. Sages will do anything they can to stall a Yoru from setting up his combos and plays. And a lot of Yoru players will try to brute force through it, sending clones and TPs into her wall and ice, when this just results in unfavorable and uncomfortable setups. But not you. Instead, you're going to use your clone to bait out her orbs before making any setups. A lot of players don't know this, but Yoru's teleporter and clone make walking sounds in her ice. So in other scenarios, you can also use your clone and teleporter to fake positioning or pushes. Omens love to flash TP on Yoru, especially when they can get the high ground. What a lot of Yoru players do incorrectly is position themselves in common flash spots, accepting their fate, forcing them to TP out and give up space. Instead, take the high ground before he does with an updraft, preferably in a spot not commonly flashed. Note that Omen's blind also doesn't affect you in ult, and you can bait out his ult and TP rotations with fake hits. Cypher mains love to use their trips to counter Yoru's clone. And a lot of Yoru mains wrongfully fall for it by mindlessly throwing clones into it over and over, which doesn't destroy it anymore. Instead, when you use your clone into the trip, use that window of it being triggered to execute with your team. This is practically the same as it being destroyed, just make sure to communicate with your team to push through with you and destroy it afterwards. Chambers are going to be opping or holding some type of sightline, looking for a free pick before teleporting quickly away. And most Yorus try to jump peek it, fake clone, or flash him off when there is a much easier way to deal with this. Instead, once you locate where the chamber is, clone around the corner and have the chamber shoot your clone. Right as your clone is flashing, swing. This will almost always make him TP away, giving you more map control because he doesn't have enough time to re-engage his op before you can kill him. And even if he isn't opping, he will be flashed, setting you up for a nice kill. Sovas are almost always going to be going for some type of information on defense and attack against Yoru before he can set up any plays. And most Yorus accept their fate or do zero preparation before it's too late and are already spotted. Instead, set yourself and your TP up before any information gathering ability is used so you can reposition and have him second guessing. Most Sovas will tag the first person they see with their drone, so if you can manage to clone it, they will waste their tag on it and likely not be able to tag anything else, and sometimes jumping out of it altogether. You can also send your TP to common drone spots and dry TP on Sovas for free kills. Let's talk about the very controversial Taeho. Like we're all used to, he's gonna try to force you out of positions with his missiles and spiders. And most Yorus will panic TP away at the single instance of his aggression. But don't freak out. Taeho's missiles only do at most 50 damage per pulse. So if there's an opportunity, tank them out as much as possible and catch the enemies off guard with you still being around before TPing out last second. Similar to sticking around deep into a Killjoy ultimate. Speaking of Killjoy players, they love to use utility in tight corridors to split Yoru away from his team when he teleports in. And most Yoru players fall for this trap, full sending a flash TP and getting stranded alone into death. Instead, try to bait out all of her utility with your clone before executing. You can also use your clone to aggro her turret before swinging to destroy it for free. Gecko mains really like to use their wingman and flash to find Yorus trying to set up a good play. Most Yorus wrongfully try to destroy the wingman themselves, exposing their position and even getting killed. Instead, do this. Set up your clone away from where you're playing in the pre-round, preferably somewhere close to the choke points so wingman won't get much value. Then, when you hear Gecko send out wingman and flash onto site, pop your clone. This will pull wingman away from getting any info and take it down. And because your clone wasn't next to you, your position is still completely unknown. Phoenix players are going to try and use their wall to counter Yoru's flash when entering the site. And most Yorus fall for it by flashing early, swinging his wall dry, and getting killed instantly. Instead, try to find patterns that he's doing with his wall round after round. From there, use your clone, a pop flash, or both together to swing his wall for a nice kill. You can also ult or dry TP on his ult spots for free kills. Breach mains love to stun and combo their utility with their team, especially when a Yoru main has been outplaying them round after round. And most Yoru mains play in the same spot every round, trying to brute force their way through it or TP away to avoid his stun, giving up way too much space. Instead, you need to be switching up your positioning to keep him constantly guessing on where to send his stun. Updrafting and using your clone to bait it out also works great. Also, not a lot of people know this, but you can actually teleport into the Breach ultimate to dodge it if you time it correctly. Neon players are going to move fast and try to run down Yoru players before they have any time to even think about doing anything big brain. And tons of Yoru players panic and TP away the second things get chaotic, resulting in huge loss of map control. Instead, try to use your clone to bait Neon's slide out. Most Neon players will slide the second they see someone to execute for a kill, and with how fast they're moving, they don't even realize it's a clone most of the time. This can set you up for a ton of free kills and put the enemy Neon on tilt super fast. Brimstones are super slow players and really shine in post plants. They will typically stall as long as they can with mollies and ult, using their long range plays to their advantage. Most Yoru players really struggle with this. They will die to the molly, run out of time, and never use their TP to their advantage. Next time you're in this scenario, anchor a TP down by the spike and go hunt Brimstone down. Yoru is the only agent in the game with infinite gap closing potential, so no matter how far away the Brimstone is playing, you can kill him and TP back to spike for a safe defuse. Let's talk about how Yoru players counter other Yoru players. With how much more popular Yoru is getting, his tech is a lot more commonly known, and he will likely be using your own tech against you. Most Yorus get completely overwhelmed with the amount of strategy required to counter their mirror matchup. They'll get Yoru diffed and then flamed for being the bad Yoru in the match. So instead of that, I'm going to give you one overarching tip that will counter every Yoru ability. You need to approach the match as if you were playing against yourself. So think about all of your favorite flash spots in the game, all of your favorite ult plays, flash TP plays, updrafts, etc. And be prepared for them before the enemy Yoru prepares for them himself. Kind of like a Phoenix flash. It's so fast, the best way to dodge it is knowing when and where it's coming from before it even happens. Like be long on bind, for example. Before the enemy Yoru flashes and swings it, already be pushing up long with your back face to him and then turn after the flash goes off. I know this seems a bit unordinary, but I have played thousands of matches against high elo Yoru players, and being 2 steps ahead is the quickest way to shut them down. Waylay players will typically try to play like a mixture of Neon and Jet, stunning you and then dashing on you fast before you have time to react. A lot of Yoru players will make the same mistakes they make against Neon and Jet. Panic, TP away from her stuns, and dash, giving up a ton of map control. Instead, think about the common Waylay dash spots and prepare a flash for it. Most Waylays will dash twice, so the second you hear her first dash, use your flash to flash her during her second dash animation. Skye players love to use their ult to counter your ult because, surprisingly, at least at the time of recording this, Skye's ult cabbages will track you in your ultimate. And most Yorus will try to outrun a Skye ult, completely wasting their own ult time and giving them a ridiculous, unadvantageous play. I see this so frequently with my students, so I'm going to tell you how to counter it. Instead, next time you get Skye ulted in your own ultimate, run into the Skye's cabbage as fast as possible. Take the hit, and then continue with your play. This will let you endure the full duration of the Skye ult and reposition yourself without the Skye knowing your exact location. Fade players are going to do everything they can to tether and anchor Yoru players down before they can escape. And wrongfully, so many Yoru players, when they do get tethered, instantly take their TP as far away as possible to safety out of fear. What you're going to do instead is have a TP set up behind cover across from you in a crossfire position. Next, the moment you get tethered, anchor a clone down by right-clicking and then take your TP. From there, activate your clone to have it leave the tethered location, making the Fade think you're still tethered. Even if she doesn't shoot your clone, it's likely she and her teammates will util dump this location, setting you up for a nice play. Side tip, but you can also TP through the Fade ult if you time it correctly, just like a Breach ultimate. KO players typically will use their ultimate and throwing knife to try and suppress Yoru players before they can use any utility for an outplay. And most Yoru mains try to over-aggress after being suppressed with no escape plan, hoping for a Hail Mary play. Which isn't always bad, but here's a much better play you can do instead. Instead, when you see the enemy KO has ult and will likely execute with it, counter it with your own ultimate right when the round starts. Do not wait until you hear the KO ult start to go off until you activate it. The KO ultimate activates way faster than your ult, and it will cancel your ultimate animation, wasting all of your ult points. Vice mains will try and use their wall as well as their vines to stop Yoru players from executing sight or splitting them up from their team when you flash TP in. And so many Yoru players fall for this bait constantly. Stop blindly flash TPing in past Vice's wall and vines and wondering why you're stuck in a 1v5 on site. Instead, use your clone to bait out her wall and vines first. This will let your team actually be able to follow up with you and execute on site. With her ultimate, treat it like a Killjoy ult and stay in as long as possible before TPing out. This will catch the enemies off guard for some potential free kills. Viper mains will use their ult, walls, and smokes to avoid Yoru's flashes and ult vision as much as possible. But I painfully see so many Yoru players still trying to ping her down in smokes when this doesn't work nearly as well anymore. Instead, when you counter her utility with your ult, especially Viper's Pit, stand directly in front or behind her and have your teammates spam your body instead of pinging. Pinging doesn't work in smokes the way it used to, and also they're not as easy of a target for your teammates. This will make countering Viper's ultimate so much easier. Astra mains are going to always be looking for ways to stall executes and post plants with their utility. Most Yorus know that their clone gets stuck in the gravity well, but not the teleporter as well. This can completely mess up the trajectory and pacing of your teleport play, and tons of Yorus fall for this round after round. Instead, you need to be patient and bait out her gravity well or stuns before sending your teleport out. You can typically do this with a clone. Also, when it comes to her gravity well, you don't always have to fight it. Sometimes it's better to just let it pull you to the center so you can stabilize and hold your ground. You can always TP out, so don't be too afraid. Like most wall agents, Harbor will use his wall to push onto site safely, avoiding Yoru's flashes as well as his barrier smoke for post plants. So many Yoru players try to spam his smoke, but by the time you break it, and assuming you don't kill him, will force themselves into a reload to start spamming again, and by then, he's already defused. Instead, when he's defusing, send a clone into the smoke while you simultaneously spam it as well. This would not only break the barrier, but also stall his defuse because most Harbors will hop off to shoot the clone, which will now flash him as well. This should give you enough time to reload if needed, and even have the smoke drop before he can finish his defuse, giving you a free kill. If you enjoyed that video, watch this one next. And if you want to master Yoru, join the masterclass. Link in the description.